We got a new operator.
You're good.
Thank you, cameraman. I
Pledge
pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Trombley. Trustee Malinsky. Here. Trustee Connor.
Here.
Trustee Herzog. Here. Mayor McFetrich.
Here. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the August 14th meeting, please?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion, any corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Opposed? One abstention. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the August 28th meeting? May I have a second?
Second.
Any corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Presentation of petitions, communications, and general question period for members of the community. Members of the community, what would you like to share with us?
I don't have much for you this week.
Holly couldn't be here, she's at the shooting range. The stumps, we never,
Yeah, it rained every weekend.
I know, it is a horrible summer.
and, or they were wet,
Yeah, you couldn't do anything with them when they were wet.
so this, it's not something that they've forgotten.
Oh, no, that's totally understandable. I'm in that same boat out there in Vernon. It just wasn't doable for us this year,
No.
so reset for next year.
Yeah, we kinda lost control of that whole area with all that rain anyway.
And David had made a comment that he and Holly are both graduating, so,
I've been trying to keep my eyes out for someone else that I think would be good.
Great,
Well,
that would
Holly
be
did the
really
same.
helpful.
Good idea.
Yeah, thank you.
just try to be proactive.
That's right, you're both seniors. Anything else?
Is there anything else that you needed from them, or any questions you have for David regarding the 23rd, or?
I mean, I don't know if any of you guys had questions about the US Scout project for the 23rd, but I'm
Sign
here.
looks good.
Okay. I'm excited to see it put in and stuff.
And I know that you visited with the superintendent a bit on the installation and,
Yeah, we'll actually, as soon as we can get it up, we'll post it.
yeah. And then you and I can talk later about the program and how that's fitting in, and I know you needed some other details too.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We're really excited about that.
It's much nicer than we had anticipated.
Yeah, it's,
We were very,
really
very
beautiful.
much lucked out that they gave us a $2,000 discount. That's-
yeah,
Nice.
But
Yeah.
as far as, we have to do the final total, but I think
We
it's
have,
that he
we have
has
the
all
money, and I think we're gonna have, at least if you want an extra $100 for the
oh,
rec
that
fund.
did work
So,
out,
Oh, great.
great,
So we're still waiting on one check, so.
excellent. Well, good work on this.
Nice job.
Fundraising's not fun.
yeah, you think it's in the name, but.
But that's really all we had, we just wanted to check in.
Okay, yeah, no, that's good, always happy to have you here too.
And if there's anything that you can think of, as far as the youth helping this winter, but I know that he and Holly are, and I can't even keep track of his schedule, honestly.
I know.
Yeah, I know you're busy.
So,
All right, well, keep bringing us ideas too.
Yeah. If you're around Sunday, the library went forward, we could use help. If you're around.
I don't know if I'll be there, but I'll Holly, and I'm sure the cones will be there.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
check
the cones will be
The
there.
cone game.
He'll be there, yeah.
Of course they will.
Alright, that's
All
really all
right.
we had, so I
Thank
know
you.
you have a long meeting, so
All
we're
right,
gonna keep you.
well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'll update you as soon as we get the post in and on the sign.
Okay, and we had a meeting last night, so I have the volunteers to go and install a sign.
Okay.
Alright, perfect, or
You
at least
got it.
drop it in there, thank you.
Have a
you.
good evening.
You too.
All right, so Mike, I'm gonna turn it over to you to officially
So,
make some introductions here for the public.
Yeah, so our meter line that we had before our water meters, the meters are starting to, come to a point where they're gonna have to be changed out. The meter line we had was through E.J. Prescott, and the company, pulled the line from this area from them. even though we had an agreement with the company that they would always service us, really, the company, it didn't amount to what it was written on. So there's another place, another company that's taking over for them, and I got a hold of them to get meters, and it's been months and they still haven't got back to me. So I was looking for a different meter line. A new meter line they come up with has a lot of new features that are gonna be really good as far as, well, good for us. So I have two gentlemen here, Andy Glick from E.J. Prescott and Chris Bell from E.J. Prescott. And Andy's gonna do a little presentation on the Champlain meters. That was a meter probably a month ago. I left one to pass around so they could see what they were. But they're a radio read meter, like we have now. And he's working on two options, a drive-by like we have right now, where we actually have to go out, like drive around to get the readings. And he's working on getting us a quote on a fixed base system, which is, the antenna sends a signal and we get the constant data here, which he'll explain, but be no more going out. If somebody gets a leak, it sends an alert to my phone. You don't have to go out and actually hook to the meter and do all the downloading, and there's quite a bit of features in the new style meter, but I'll turn it over to Andy.
Okay, thank you. So like I said, I'm Andy Glick from E.J. Prescott. I'm a meter specialist for New York State. I've been with E.J. Prescott for a little over 17 years now. Most of that time doing just meter stuff, so I've seen a thing or two and I know a thing or two about meters. So we carry the Champlain meter line. Originally we did sell you guys the census system that you guys use now, and that was many years ago. And since then, Census went to a different distributor, so now we carry the Champlain meter line. And we've been very, very impressed with the quality and the technology that has been coming out of Champlain. So I'll give you a quick overview of the meters that they sell, how their software works, and some of the features that Champlain does offer. So the types of meters that we carry are called ultrasonic meters. So basically they have no moving parts whatsoever, they're completely solid state. And the way an ultrasonic meter works is there's two tiny little posts inside the meter tube, and it sends an ultrasonic sound pulse that bounces off the two reflective surfaces on those pulses. And based on the velocity of the water, it times how long it takes that sound pulse to travel through the water. And that's how it determines how much water is actually going through that meter. This technology is actually a lot older than most people think. It was actually first invented in 1959, originally for medical testing equipment. They needed a way to measure small amounts of fluid, specifically in blood analyzers, and this was the most accurate way they could think of to do that. And it's been used in water meters and different measuring technology ever since. Because there are no moving parts, there's nothing to wear out. Once you turn it on, if it's running, then basically it will keep going until the battery dies. And the battery in our meters is warranted for 20 years. And we also warranty the accuracy on our meters, which is something that's unique to any meter manufacturer that I'm aware of. So, as long as it works when you first turn it on, then it should work forever until the battery dies. So you have very little pressure loss, and it's very, very reliable, no wear and tear. So basically, Chamstrip has two types of residential meters that I'll do a quick overview of. This is their basic meter, and it's the Flow IQ 2100, and these could actually be tied into your existing Census radios that you have right now. So they have a wire that comes off of them that can tie it into the radio, or they can also come with a radio themselves. If they do come with a radio, this is for a drive-by system only. This is kind of their basic, very simple ultrasonic meter. It doesn't have quite as many features as the next model that they have, but it does come in either a composite body or stainless steel. The reason why it comes in a composite body or stainless steel as opposed to the traditional brass is because of the newer low lead laws that are coming into effect more and more across the country. And pretty soon, the regulations are going to go from low lead to absolutely no lead. And that's not really possible with brass or bronze without becoming extremely expensive. And the price of both brass and bronze has been going through the roof for so many years that Champlain decided to just go with either a composite or stainless steel. The materials are very reliable, they have no lead, they have no contaminants whatsoever that are possible to be transferred into the water. So basically they are going to be in compliance with any regulations that might come down the road. This is basically just an idea of what the actual dial of the meter itself looks like. It gives you the reading, then it gives you a bunch of information like the temperature, threshold of the water, the meter serial number. If you did need to physically download information off the meter, it has an ultrasonic eye right up there, so you don't have anything that you need to plug into. There's just a little adapter you just hold over the register, and you can download it or reprogram it as necessary. They are also IP68 waterproof, which basically they're designed to be completely submersible continuously. Not all meter manufacturers, some are water resistant, not necessarily waterproof, but ours are designed to be completely submerged for the entire 20-year life of the meter if necessary.
We have meter pits, which they are, a lot of them are full of water.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the groundwater, so they have to be,
So some of the alarms that come standard in the meter that I know Mike benefits from a lot are, you have a flow meter, which basically just shows that there is active flow going through the meter. That can help you determine if there's a leak in the house. So if you shut off all the faucets, everything inside the house, and the meter will tell you if it's still detecting minute amounts of water. And our meters start registering at 0.01 gallons per minute. That is not even a dripping faucet at that point. They read very, very low. And that low reading threshold is part of our written specification. We have the lowest written guarantee for our metering threshold of any manufacturer. So it does give you a leak alarm. So basically if it determines if there's constant flow going through that meter for 24 straight hours, it lets you know that there's probably a leak somewhere. It's assuming at some point in 24 hours, you shouldn't be using water. Burst is if there's a sudden burst of water that's significantly higher than the normal for 30 minutes, it's assuming that something happened along that line. And whether the meter froze and burst or somewhere along that line downstream of that meter, a line froze and burst, it will send you an immediate alarm letting you know that that happened. Tamper, if any, their register itself is hermetically sealed. So if that seal is broken, it'll let you know that there's a possible tamper. Dry pipe is basically if there's 8 consecutive hours where there's no water inside the meter at all, it'll let you know that something happened. Typically that's the result of tampering. If someone took the meter out of place and put in a straight piece of pipe, then that will know that this meter should be in service and there's absolutely no water going through it at all.
we had somebody do that too.
Yes, that does happen, yes.
Yeah.
I wish, and do you still have your picture where they stuffed the pin in it and stopped the dial?
Oh, I never got a picture of that one.
Did
The
you
old
see it?
style, yeah.
Yes, I have some wild
Mine
stories
is.
about the lengths that people will go to.
They drilled a
free
tiny
water.
hole in a mechanical meter in just the right spot, and they had a pin they were pulling in and out of it.
Yeah, it was literally a needle that they would drop into the pin to stop the gears from turning. It was.
It was over filling a swimming pool or something, right?
It was.
Or
Yes,
something like
It was
that.
pretty intense.
Wow.
Another alarm they have is reverse flow. So it'll tolerate a little bit of reverse flow, but because you guys have backflows on your system, you should not have any water going from a residence back into your system. That's an extreme health hazard. So this will actually let you know if any water goes backwards through the meter. That can also let you know if someone takes the meter out, reverses it, and puts it back in so that it will turn backwards, which it actually will. So it'll let you know if that happens too. And it'll let you know the exact time frame and the number of gallons that went backwards through that meter too. So you'll have a lot of data to work with. And if for some reason the radio becomes inactive, which it shouldn't, but if that happens at any point, it will record when the radio stops transmitting and will record that error message as well. So these are all standard alarms that are on all Chemstrip meters. So our basic meter will record up to 460 days of daily data. So you have a full year's worth and then some of different meters. So you'll get the daily reads, you'll get all of the alarms, you'll get the total volume that went through the meter for that 24-hour period. You will get the maximum flow rate, you'll get temperature readings. One thing that is unique about our meters is they actually have temperature sensors that will record the ambient temperature and the water temperature as well. And another alarm that you can configure is it will actually send you an alarm if the air temperature drops below a certain point, because that could make the meter freeze, and also if the water temperature drops below a certain point. So one way that people configure these alarms is that if the air temperature drops below, say, to 35 degrees, then it'll send that alarm, so it'll let you know that this area is getting cold enough that you're gonna start having problems. And then if the water temperature itself drops to 34, 33 degrees, it'll send you another alarm, and then you know this meter is about to freeze, we're there. And so that'll help prevent a lot of meter freezing, which I know is a significant problem up here because you guys are so far north, it gets really cold. So even if you set that ambient air temperature alarm, because this is all customizable from the factory, you can set up a profile exactly how you want all of these alarms to be configured, then that'll give you a heads up when a meter's in a bad spot, it's not being insulated correctly, and you can actually be proactive and prevent that meter from freezing.
And those are, that's something you can also, if we adjust
Yes.
after the fact.
Yep.
If it's not, where exactly we want it, it's something that you can reset.
Yep.
Change.
Absolutely. So if you guys do go with our system, we'll sit down with you initially and set those thresholds to be where you want. Then, like you said, if there's an individual case basis where you want to adjust that, I can absolutely do that for you. So that's all data that is recorded for 460 days, and then you have monthly benchmarks, which again has the total flow going through that meter, maximum flows, reverse flows, the minimum temperature, the average temperature, stuff like that. It is recorded for 36 months. So you have a lot of data that's built right into the meter itself. Now this is the next model of meter we have. This is the FlowIQ 2200. This has a lot more features. This is a newer meter. Has very similar body construction. Again, comes with the composite or the stainless steel. And one of the biggest features of this is it has more data that it can record, but it also has acoustic leak detection built into the meter. Because it's an ultrasonic meter and it's listening for those sound pulses to measure the water flow, Camstrip was able to figure out a way to actually listen for leaks in your water mains with your water meter. And that's, again, something that is unique from any meter manufacturer in the world. So every single residential water meter is listening for leaks on the water line that it's on, both on the water mains and on the services going from the water main to the actual house itself. And I'll go into a little bit more detail on that as well. The dial is very similar. The antenna is placed a little bit differently. That antenna is removable. One of the options that you can get is a remote antenna. It has a 10-foot cable. So if you have some that are in pits, like you have, water absorbs radio signals a lot. So the higher you can get that antenna, the better. So this enables you to plug the cable into the meter itself that might be submerged, and then mount that antenna much higher up out of the water so you can get much more reliable reads.
And when you say antenna, it's dome basically like we have, where
Yep.
they can go over the top with the mower and it's not an antenna.
Yeah, it's not sticking up, it's coming up about,
Like mushroom, basically.
yeah, like maybe a quarter of an inch or so above the meter lid itself. Just enough to get that signal out. So another thing that's different about the 2200 is it actually does give you a gallons per minute measurement of that meter. So again, you can check to see if water is flowing through a meter, if you have everything turned off in a house, and you're still showing that flow. With this one, you can actually look and see exactly what the flow rate is, so how many gallons per minute the leak, if that toilet is leaking. So it just gives you a little bit more data. Again, it has basically all the same leak alarms. It has all the same alarms. It's the flow rate, the leak, burst, tamper, dry pipe, reverse, It also gives you a low battery alarm when there's about 6 months of battery life left in that meter itself. So it gives you plenty of time to get it swapped out without it needing to be an emergency. Another difference is that it also stores hourly data. So all that data as far as what the minimum and maximum temperatures, flow rate, everything like that, instead of being daily, you can actually break it down to about 100 days of hour by hour data increments. So you're not just seeing how much water they use that day, but you can tell them that they use this much water between 2 and 3 a.m., 4 and 5 p.m. So people who are using a lot of water and don't think that they actually use as much water as their bill actually says, you can show them this where their water consumption is.
Well, Andy, on the alarm, right,
Mhm.
for the temperature, how long of a period of time does it take of, below your threshold before it alarms?
Immediately,
Immediately.
yes.
So if somebody's heat went out or something, like, you know what I mean? I used to, before this world, I did a lot of stuff. So I ran part of the company I used to run, did plumbing. And as soon as we get our first cold night, you get, a ton of phone calls, everything's frozen. Because we were a little further done. And it was always a lot, I'd say 90% of them were older folks that didn't really go downstairs anymore.
Mhm.
And there'd be a rock had fallen out of the foundation, something happened, they didn't even know they had the drafts down there.
Mhm.
And it was pretty surprising how many you'd get that first day. I'm sure you used to get the same thing.
Yeah.
That first below 0 day.
When we get a cold snap for a couple days usually.
That was the thing that stood out to me the most when I saw this.
Because a lot of times they're froze and it's a day or two later when you get to warm up is when they're running.
Mhm.
Because everything's froze,
Yeah.
and people don't take care of sometimes what they
And
need
they
to.
don't notice. So again, this has a lot more data, and also a lot of this data as far as the consumption, the temperature, it actually will record it for the entire life of the meter. So some of this data is actually stored for up to 20 years. So there's a lot more information, a lot more data that you can have to help manage your system better. Flow IQ 4200 is basically our larger commercial meters. So the 2100 and the 2200 are available up to 4-inch. This is available from 4 to 8-inch. So it has all the same features, all the same data. It does not have leak detection built into it. The acoustic leak detection that will listen for the leaks in the main only goes up to 1 inch. So the commercial meters above that, it has the continuous flow alarms for leaks on the side of the residence, but it doesn't have the acoustic detection built into it. So again, the register is very similar. It'll still give you the temperature ranges, it'll still give you the continuous flow alarms, stuff like that. All the same alarms that the residential meters have. And again, it also does the hour by hour data, daily, monthly, and up to 20 years worth of data as well for your commercial accounts. This can be helpful, especially if you have a building that goes from one use to another. If you had some sort of manufacturing in a building that used a lot of water, they needed a large meter, and it made a lot of sense. Then it switched over to something else that uses very minimal water, becomes an office building or a shop where they have one toilet and that's it. And you have a 4-inch meter servicing one toilet. You can actually go back and see what the usage is on a daily, hourly, monthly basis to see if it might make sense to go down to a smaller meter that will be much more accurate and much more appropriate for that account. Now for anything above 8-inch, Camstrup does sell the Siemens, a magnetic flow meter. They do have a larger meter themselves. It's just not approved for buyer services yet, which is one of the approvals that they want to have for the meter before it goes into full production. Camstrup, the company began in Denmark, and so this meter is available in Europe, but it hasn't been approved for fire lines in the US yet. It will be, the approval is going through right now. We're hoping by the end of the year it will, in which case we'll be able to sell the 4200s from 4-inch up to 16-inch. So in the meantime, if you need a larger meter,
We don't.
we can provide, you don't need a larger
No.
meter.
No, 6-inch are the biggest that we have, so.
Beautiful, we can, and you don't even need the Siemens, but if you do, we do have an option for that as well. This is the remote radio. So basically, if you have an existing meter that you want to be able to read with a cam strip system, this is just the cam strip radio itself. And so you can take this 3-wire connection and you can connect it to a census meter or a Badger meter or a Neptune meter or basically any other manufacturer. Wire it right in and you'll be able to read it with your cam strip reading system. So if you have larger, more expensive commercial meters that you don't want to swap out because they're still running just fine, then you can just throw one of our radios on there and you can leave it in place. Now, this is kind of a brief overview of the AMR, which is an automatic meter reading system, basically your drive-by system, versus the hardware you would need for an AMI system, which is automatic meter reading infrastructure. So it's a drive-by system versus having a radio tower that reads all the meters in town all at the same time. So for our drive-by system, it's very small. This is about the size of a smartphone with a little bit antenna coming off of it. And that's what you use to read your meters. You can't get a little roof-mounted antenna that we recommend. It significantly increases the range, but the antenna is about yay big. It just sticks right up on your roof. And so you would go around and read the meters with that, and it would download all the data to a Android tablet or a smartphone. You can use any Android phone or tablet, it doesn't matter. So it's similar to the drive-by system that you guys use now with the laptop, with a big honking system that you have to set up, a big antenna you have to put on your roof, just much, much, much more compact. It does use a public frequency, so it's not a licensed frequency for the drive-by system, but it actually will transmit the readings on 3 separate radio frequencies, one after the other, so that if there is by some small chance any radio interference in the area, which I've never come across yet, one of those 3 channels is getting through. So even despite the fact that it being a public frequency, one of those channels will get through. And if it does become problematic, then we can actually reprogram all the radios to any of the public frequency spectrum as well. So again, that's customizable if necessary. The fixed base system does transmit on a licensed frequency, so there won't be any interference from anyone. They have a licensed frequency for both the US and Canada, and because you guys are so close to Canada, that does matter, so you'll be good either way. But basically, these 2 little antennas, which are just 5-foot monopoles, is what their fixed base system consists of. Some people hear about a fixed base radio system, they're thinking a whole cell phone tower, big honking thing. It's not. It's a 5-foot monopole and that box, which is about half the size of a rollboard suitcase. So as long as you have power, these will fit on, we put them on streetlights before, and it works just fine. So typically you'll put it on a water tower, because it's typically the highest point in town, and it will read all the meters in town. The meters report in every 3 hours, and then it downloads all the data to a cloud server, and you can access your reads, you can access all those alarms, all the data from anywhere, from any electronic device anywhere. And it also will hold that data indefinitely as well. So you can look back at the history of someone's account, and it'll give you hour by hour reads, alarms, consumption, flow, temperature, everything for the entire life of that meter. Skip over here. So a lot of information is configurable. Kind of gives you an idea of what it would look like with your fixed base system, where basically all the meters would appear as different dots. And if the dot is blue, then you know everything's good. If there's any alarms, if there's any issues with it, the dot will turn a different color based on what the alarm is. So it's very easy to just get a quick snapshot of the health of your system. And another thing that's unique to CamStrip as well is with the fixed base system, the radios will actually send a signal out to the tower, and it'll get a confirmation signal back. It also includes the strength of how well it received that signal. So if you have a meter that's really close to the tower, it will actually know that it doesn't have to send as strong a signal as it normally would, because the tower's receiving it really well, and it will automatically step down the power of the signal it's sending out to help lengthen the life of the battery. So the battery is warranted for 20 years anyway, but this can help significantly increase the life of that battery. So these are some of the accessories that you can get. That is the pit-mounted antenna that we were talking about earlier. Again, very, very thin, so it fits right on the top of that meter pit lid. And most of these others are of different types of antennas. Like that's an antenna that you can mount up in the rafters if you needed to, gaskets, adapters, stuff like that. So anything that you need to install the meters, we can provide. This is basically an overview of the drive-by system. So all you would need is an Android phone, and again, this little device to read it. And all of the meters have an individual encryption that is assigned to your individual account. So no one else can read your meters. Even another town that has a cam strip system cannot read your meters. So they're assigned to you individually, and in order to read your meters, they would physically have to go to the clerk's computer or wherever your reads are processed and scan that QR code, which pairs that device to your meters. So no one's going to be able to mess with yours, to read yours, or to get any data that you don't want them to. So with the fixed base system, it's run by what's called Reading Manager, and it automatically stores hourly reads for up to 13 months, and 5 years of daily reads, and then 10 years of monthly reads. That is configurable. If you want more hourly reads, then we can adjust that as well. But they have 24/7 monitoring of your system. You can adjust how your alarms come through. Enough time for alarms. So basically that's how we integrate with billing programs. It is compatible with any billing program out there. So we individually customize the interface as far as being able to send data from your billing program into the CamStrap software and back and forth. So that's one of the things that I do, is customize that interface as necessary. So that's basically an overview of CamStrap and how their meters work. Any questions from you guys?
Is anyone using this in the North Country?
In the North Country, no, not yet. So we have a couple systems that we're bidding on right now. CamStrap is just getting more into New York at the moment. We're the first major distributor that are selling CamStrap, but they have a lot of systems installed in the Midwest, down south, and on the West Coast as well. So they have a number of projects. They're up to, I think, a little over 200 fixed-base systems in the US right now. And they've been actually doing systems like this for 75 years now. That's how long CamStrap has been in existence.
They have their facility, so they had just built a new facility, or they're building a new facility?
Yep, so they have their original manufacturing facility in Denmark, but then they also have a manufacturing facility in Atlanta, which is where the US gets all of their meters. And their US market is growing so much, they're building another facility right now in Atlanta that's about 13 times bigger than the existing one. So right now, I can tell you that CamStrap has the best lead times of any manufacturer in the US, and those lead times are about to go down significantly. So the new facility should be coming online by the end of the year, we believe. So all their meters and all their reading equipment is manufactured in Atlanta. So it's all.
I'm sorry. What's the difference in the cost between the drive-by versus the others?
The initial cost is significant as far as the initial hardware that you're purchasing, but then for both the drive-by system and the fixed-base system, there's a subscription, basically an annual subscription for all the hosting, for all the support and everything. That is very similar. So we can provide you guys a quote with a cost comparison of the drive-by system, both the initial cost and then the year-by-year cost versus the fixed-base system.
So the drive-by system, kind of like what we had, he did get me a quote, but we were waiting on CamStrap. He has where all our meters are now, so they're looking at the topography to where we would need antennas, and he's working on getting us a quote of what the fixed radio system would be, so we can look at the two and see what the difference between the two of them is.
On the leak detection side, I know I've seen it before, so when you start looking at the leak detection, the percentages of the leaks kind of surprise me. They start looking at it.
Mhm.
How many of them are services? You blame everything on the mains, but when you really start looking, the mains are a portion of it. But if you can eliminate the leaks in the services, it makes a huge difference in loss.
So what my plan will be, as our meters go, we'll be swapping them out with new meters. And that was my hopes, it's not
That's
something, if it's not something we're gonna take all of our meters out, the ones that are still in use, we're gonna use them up. And as we change them out to whatever style meter we're gonna go with, but, for instance, I know the leak detection, like if we had one here, we had one next door, it would tell you if it's on this service, or if it's between these two houses, if it's between that house and the next house as you get them in, which that is huge, the acoustic leak detection. We never had that,
And it'll go
that's
through,
huge.
it'll narrow it down too.
Yeah.
Like say that like as close as everything is, more than likely it's gonna be like 3 or 4 of the houses are gonna show the leak, but they're gonna show it hotter as you get closer to
So
it.
I can give you an overview of
Well,
what those.
the other thing is too, I was talking to Andy about, and I know they're not out yet, and it's probably gonna be another couple of years, but there'll be new meters coming out that can tell you the pressure.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah,
coming
that's
out with
regular
pressure,
pressure monitoring.
regulated pressure
Boy,
monitoring.
that would be really good.
And that, that is it's gonna be a little bit, they're working on them now, so they're not out yet. Cause I thought they were coming out right away, but it's gonna be a little bit of time yet, but that's something that, in the future is gonna be, is huge. I mean, the amount of pressure reducers we have PRVs that are going bad, we could catch it before,
Yeah,
um,
so our current meters had a 10-year life expectancy?
uh,
Wasn't it 10?
20 year,
No,
20
I
years.
thought it
20
was
years.
10.
Yeah, it's 10-year full warranty, and
Okay,
then an
20 year.
additional 10-year prorated warranty on the meters.
the ones that we have now,
correct.
yeah, okay. And we're in year 6, I
We're
think.
in,
Seven.
when I started, let's see,
2016 or 17.
yeah. 7, we're getting closer for sure.
So would your idea, Mike, be to have a number, say we decide to go with these, have a number of them here, and then as they start to fail, you
Well,
swap them
usually
out? You
we
wouldn't do
keep,
one at a
we
time?
keep we usually keep some here because right now I'm out of meters. I
Yeah,
have no meters to put in if somebody has, I got one used one and we had one that was froze that we have to change, which is supposed to get with me here at some point, but, so, I had them send me a few so I have something, because if I have to put something in, I just have
Well,
them send me regular ones that I can hook to our radios we have, but as they go, we need to start slowly phasing them in. I mean, it doesn't make sense, I don't think, for us to take out 600 meters and
No.
swap them.
no,
you know,
that's my question.
Right, so.
How many would you purchase in to start?
Well, we can get them, I think it's 8 in a case like the others, is that what they're
10.
10 in a case, so you get, you keep a case on hand, and as you swap them out, as you get down, you order another case,
Okay.
and just keep swapping them. If we start having issues with some, we just wanna have some on hand to swap them out with.
Okay.
We're gonna have to phase them in, I mean, it would be a huge, to change 600 meters,
Oh, yeah.
all that,
No.
and they're, I mean, the price of the meters, the meter that has the radio built in is not very much more than, what we have now. Between the meter and the radio, the price together, you're not looking at very much more money. I mean, you're looking at probably $400 for a meter with a radio on it.
And
Where-
acoustic leak detection.
And it has a leak detection, has other options other ones don't have. And the regular meters that we had, we bought them back in 16, and they were like $150 then. That was,
That's just
7
the
years
meter.
ago.
The radio is an additional $125.
Okay.
so that price of $150 we used to get for radios, that was 7 years ago price. So now they're more. So, we had $300 or more invested then for a meter and a radio, and these are $400, and they're probably, maybe it's $50, maybe these are $50 more, but you got a lot more options, because the price that we paid was from 2016, and from then to now, it's definitely went up. I don't know what the current price is on the meters and the radios that we have, but I would say you've gotta be $350 or so, I'm guessing.
I can tell you that for what you would buy a census meter radio for now, with similar to what you're using now, we're very comparable. Let me, I know some of our other branches in New England sell census, they still sell census meters. And we're definitely in the same ballpark, I can tell you that much.
And there's more options,
Yes.
more features, I should say, like the leak detector, we didn't have that. I mean, there's things, freeze protection, you know, with the temperatures, we didn't have that. There's a lot of things that we didn't have that, and these store a lot longer.
Yes.
Because our data logging, we do it hourly, and I could go back like maybe 40 days. So if we didn't catch it on this reading, you know, somebody waits till they get their bill, and it's a quarterly bill, and they're complaining about their bill, I can only go back 40 days, I can't go back and get to what the data was 3 months before.
Yep.
And the other thing is with the data, if we do go with a fixed base, it's sent right here. So I'm not constantly running. If we do have an issue, it sends an alert.
The other
Which is
thing
huge.
with the leak detection is
Over
that
time, I mean,
it will find such a small leak that it's gonna find leaks long before Mike knows they're here.
Yes.
So it's not gonna be like, once the system was implemented, Mike's not gonna end up out in the middle of, I mean, not that he's not going to, he's going to end up out in the middle of the lane, I know he is. Chris, you won't believe what happened last night, but it would be a lot less, because you're gonna see those little leaks that they're all over, those little pinholes, those little cracks that have been there for years, just seeping in the groundwater. It's gonna find them. Once it goes through and they're in, how long does it take? Would it take about a month? Once they're in to collate, however you
Oh,
say it.
no, they'll listen for leaks immediately.
Right, but doesn't it take a little while for them all to go together and you know,
It's just a matter of how many you get in. The more you get in, the better,
Right.
the more of a picture
but,
you'll see.
right, if you started out, if you had a spot, you knew where you had issues.
like here we
You could
have,
start out in that spot and work your way around.
like here we have a lot of issues, but we're looking at putting new pipe here, but yeah, it's hard if I have one here and I have one at the corner, that's a long distance between. In those bad areas, if we did change them in the houses, pull out the ones we had, even if we use them somewhere else, these bad areas, you could tell house to house and know if that main is leaking.
Like here, this is an example of a leak that was picked up, where if you look at a map of your system where it shows you all those blue dots where all your meters are, you can switch it to just the leak detection mode. All these white dots are meters that have leak detection, and then these all popped up, so you can see that they all detected a leak. This house and this house showed that the leak was about that loud. So it heard something, and it's probably a leak, but it's not super loud. And then that house right there, you can see how much louder it is. And I know on this leak in particular, it was right on the corner of that service. So that's how it helps you narrow down, okay, this house here's a leak and it's this loud, this one here's this loud, and this one is really, really loud. And it helps you correlate where you need to listen for the leaks and where you need to look for it.
And we did buy a listening device.
Yep.
We do have a listening device here that is helpful.
This is a good one. This is actually a good one. So this is where a number of houses all heard the same leak. And you can see in this graph how the closer you get to the leak, the louder and louder it is, until you get to the house that's right next to the leak, and all of a sudden it goes right through the roof as far as how loud it is. And this is all the sound data is stored on the meter itself too. So for some of these, like this is another one that says a tiny little pinhole that was actually above ground, spraying behind a shopping center into a small creek. So they never would have found this, ever. But you could see where the leak started, and it was getting louder and louder and louder.
That's a whole group.
And that whole, that little dotted line there, that's your leak threshold, which again is customizable. Camstruck has a certain threshold that they recommend, but if you want to lower that or raise it, then you can do that as well. And then you can see where they fixed it, and then all of a sudden the sound just dropped right off. It's amazing how accurate it is.
So can I just ask a quick question? This even might be for Mike. So how frequently are we checking these meters generally?
Checking them now,
Yeah.
monthly, I do readings monthly. We used to do quarterly, but I do them monthly, so if somebody has a leak,
There's a high.
we do a read, there's a high read, then I have to go back to the house, hook to the house with a laptop and do data log every hour. So this time in my readings, I got in my office, I had a chance, I got 3 full pages that I have to go back.
So for us diagnosing or even knowing that we have a leak, really the only ways that we're getting to that is either someone reports it, like, hey, you know, I think I have a leak or this or that, or on the monthly reading.
When I go out,
So when
most
they
of the
get
time
their-
I catch them, cause a lot of times toilets are a big thing.
Mhm.
People don't, there's no water running, they don't see a leak. Sometimes they don't hear it, but I can catch them, and I can look at the data and I can tell usually if it's a toilet or if it's something else, just by the flow rate, you know, how many gallons are flowing, and if it's a low flow rate, I can tell if it's a filler valve on a toilet or if it's a float sticking or a flapper valve, because if it's a flapper valve, you'll see a higher flow rate and it'll drop off versus a constant leak. But I have to go out
Mhm.
and do the readings,
So-
and then after I do that, I have to go out, Mary will flag them, these are all high. Like I said, I got over 3 pages full right now. I have to go back to every house, drive to every house, hook with a laptop and download all the data.
Yeah,
And then go through the data and look at it, and then come back here and print it off,
and that's half your day.
and that takes a while.
And if,
Where this,
If
with the
you have-
fixed base, as soon as it happens, it's sending it right to the computer or to the phone.
so if you have the antenna, it's basically gonna say, it's gonna detect that there's something going on, it's gonna send him an alert where it might be, so which we wouldn't even have before, we might
So,
not even know that it's
The
there.
drive-by is what we have now, and that's, the drive-by system would be the same, it wouldn't send the data daily. The fixed base system would send the data, I don't know if it's
Every 3
instant-
hours.
Every 3 hours. So if there is a leak, if you catch it in 3 hours, I mean, right now, we're way better than we used to be, because now we're catching it monthly, where it used to be,
When people got their
Quarterly.
bills.
people, you know, we
They'd be
read it in a
calling.
quarterly, and oh my God, it went for 3 months. So now we've cut that to a month, but even to go back, it takes a long time to go back and collect all that data. Where if it's sent instantly, you know, where I read more often is when you have like the last winter, the cold snap. So I read when it was really cold, and then I would read, we had to warm up after, so a couple days in a row I have to go out and do readings again, and that's when we found people had breaks. Their basements, houses that weren't vacant, basements were full. I mean, the water was running, they didn't know, they froze, they checked them, but they didn't check them once it warmed up. And that's huge.
And even though the meter's automatically reporting every 3 hours with updating the read, so you can set certain alarms to report it immediately. So like that low temperature alarm,
freeze
the leak
alarms would
alarm,
be-
the burst pipe alarm, freeze alarm, stuff like that. Those it'll skip the 3 hour threshold and report it immediately and let you know.
It's huge, even leak detection's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So once we have a price on the fixed base, then I'll bring it both to the board. Like I say, I have the regular drive-by, what it would be, but there's things that we're not gonna need on here with the fixed base system.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, once we have it, I'll give it to the board and they can look at both.
This presentation needs to be done to the town also, right?
I should have probably put the camera there and shined on it, but I can probably get a copy of that
Of
too.
course, yeah.
Or Andy and I can go do that too.
Yeah, well,
That's
I'll
no problem.
present, I'll do whatever you need to do.
We'll get you an address, we'll find out when it's good for, an address, yeah. The day
I
and
know
time.
where to find you.
No.
The day and time and have them fit it into theirs and,
Yeah, they would want to know about this too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, anytime, just let me know. Be happy to.
Second Tuesday of the month is their meeting,
Okay,
so maybe the October meeting.
okay.
and by then we should have, hopefully we'll have prices
Yeah,
for the fixed space.
Yeah, we should have it by then.
Cause
Great,
he took all the data where all their meters are, and then they have to use that because they can see the topographical,
Yeah.
where they are to know where the antennas should be, to give us
right,
a closer quote of.
yeah, yeah. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much for having us.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Quite incredible what, technology can do.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, and if you have any questions, I can leave my cards here. And I'm, like I said, I'm a meter specialist, so this is what I do all day. So if you have any
Alright.
questions, I can definitely help you out.
okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome, thank you.
You don't need those thicker packets back, do you, with that?
Oh, no,
Do you?
this is all for you guys.
So,
however
many
you wanna grab.
These here, I have enough, so if you
Okay.
wanna keep for us, and I kept a couple extra. That
Okay.
way if you need them for somebody else instead of,
Perfect. Yeah, I grabbed,
if that works.
I had a whole stack in my truck, I just grabbed them all.
Yeah, I got his number. Okay.
Yeah, the thicker packets are a more detailed overview of the software in case you
Yeah,
wanna
I'll have that.
dig
Okay,
deeper into
the
that.
office, yeah.
So, alright, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's fine. You can go either way. You can go through the back or the front, doesn't matter.
Yeah, we'll take the long walk.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
You're welcome.
It's really impressive what they can do.
Technology's
Wow.
come so far that,
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not a problem to have two different kinds of meters until they all get swapped out eventually.
no, because, we can hook them to the radios we have. Even as the meters go, we can hook them to the radios
Yeah.
we have.
Okay.
So, the other system we can still read. We're still using our other system to read all the census we have. So as we change them over, they're gonna be will be migrated into the new system.
Yeah, okay.
So at first, you're gonna be reading two.
Right,
He had an adapter
yeah,
too.
yeah, I saw
would
that.
plug
Well,
in.
his adapters to get data log off if you do a drive-by system, you put the adapter over, it picks up infrared to do all your data logging. If you do a fixed base system, you don't have to have that adapter because it's all coming through the computer.
Yeah,
But either way, when we first start, I still have to do drive-bys for all the ones I have now.
Right,
So
yeah.
as we change, you get more and more will be picked up on the new system.
yeah,
But I still,
Okay.
for the short term, still have to do reads.
yeah, okay, I
Um,
understand it correctly. I just wanna make sure, yeah. All right, report from the code enforcement officer. You have that report. I don't know if anyone has any questions you'd like me to share with Chris.
So they're cleaning down the house here?
That's the plan.
Because I did have seen it in there.
Yeah, I have seen them there too. Yeah, that's all I can say. Anything you want me to share? I keep him pretty busy.
You're doing a great job.
Yes. All right, here's my report. Good evening and welcome to the Village of Champlain Board of Trustees meeting. As many of you probably know, we will be celebrating the 150th birthday of the village on September 23rd. During the entire day, there will be activities for all to enjoy. This is also the birthday for the Champlain Fire Department, so be sure and check out their displays as well. Here's a quick schedule for the celebration. The day will begin at the playground, right downtown. Businesses and agencies will have tents set up with information and giveaways for attendees. Stop by to learn more about these groups. Enter some raffles and chat with the employees. The official program takes place at 10 a.m., still at the playground. There will be a number of presentations, including local and state proclamations, music history, and a dedication of the playground, which is an Eagle Scout project. Food will be for sale from 11 until about noon. The Samuel de Champlain History Center will be open from 10 until 3, and I encourage you all to visit this wonderful museum. At noon, most of the action moves to Bill Earl Park on River Street. The cornhole tournament will start at noon. Pre-registration will be approximately 30 minutes before that. There will be an ice cream social from 2 until 5, free ice cream, or until the ice cream runs out. I don't know if it'll go till 5. Depends on how many people come. There will be a concert from 2 until 5. Please bring a chair, come enjoy the music. We all look forward to celebrating this milestone with you. Invite your friends and families to join us on this day filled with fun. It's going to be a good time. Reports from the trustees. Joel?
Yep, so we're all geared to go for the cornhole. So a lot of people come early if you can, just to sign up. I'll have a cork board set up with the bracket, and I'll just fill it in as people go. I'll just give you each group a number, and then you just get your number, then we'll put all the people with their numbers, and then we'll just let it go, start the games. So River Street, come on down, noon, September 23rd. Ice cream, if you're on the sidelines, you can have a treat. Hopefully we have some fun.
Yeah, should be a good time. I know that we have gotten some calls about it, so
Good.
should get good participation. Chuck?
I really don't have much today.
Okay. Nikki?
Okay, the library is holding a fall carnival this Sunday, the 17th, from 1 to 4. So there'll be carnival games, raffles, and we have 3 Winds Farm coming with their goats, so there'll be a petting zoo. And this is just something to bring community to the library and a little bit of fundraising for all the activities that we have. I am also holding a sunrise walk this Saturday, the 16th, at Pointer Rush at 6 a.m. and we're gonna walk out to view the sun rise up over the lake. It's part of our Walk to Connect program that we sat in on a training this past weekend, and look for more walks to come.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
It's gonna be fun.
That's all I have.
Okay. Kim?
I really don't have much, just something I wanted to bring up, Janet, you and I have spoken about it. The playground, the basketball court, which has spent most of the summers, not just this year, but most of the summers, with a huge puddle of water in the middle of it. It really can't be utilized properly the way it was intended. What I really would like to see put in our budget for next year is money to have that done early in the season, to have that leveled and repaved and have the markings put back in so that this can be used. There's always kids down there, but the puddle with the rain we've had has gotten bigger and bigger and it's just not drying out. So I don't see a reason why we can't pave over pavement, even if it had to be roughed up a little bit, but we put a lot of money into that playground. We tout it all the time, but we have a court that nobody can really use, so I wanna see money put into the budget for that for next year to get that redone. If that roller goes through with shared services, we can get some asphalt and do some shared services and get that done early in the season.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wanna wait for the county because
They won't do it.
they wouldn't even drive.
They won't even do where the charging station is,
Okay, right across from it.
Yeah.
Okay.
not a
So-
road, they won't do it.
Yeah, I didn't think they would even want to, I don't wanna say waste
No.
their time, but invest the time in something so small. So I would like to see it done in the spring so that the kids can enjoy it
I
for the
agree.
summer. Cause if we're keeping them busy, they're not getting into trouble.
The reason that's like that, we paved that, there used to be front of the building was loading docks there, and that was wet in there. They got stuck with their paver, had to pull them with a loader. It was wet, and
Yeah,
it always stayed there.
Yeah.
The only hard thing's gonna be, when we originally did it, there was no fence there. So it's gonna be tough, won't be able to get all the way to the edge.
Well, should be able to take out most of that dip somehow.
yeah, I would hope so. Is there a possibility of taking the fence down to do this?
It's
And
all
then putting it back up?
concrete.
Oh, it's all concreted in?
Mhm.
Okay, I guess
I
that's
mean,
not
there
a
might be a
possibility.
lip, there's probably gonna be a lip, they can only get so close, there's gonna be a lip all the way around,
Yeah.
it won't be.
Well,
You
that's still
can't really
better.
run that close to the fence anyway, I don't know
Yeah.
how far, but there's gonna be
Mhm.
it's gonna be a spot.
Yeah.
Well, you know, depending on how much it is, we could always go a little further on the other side.
Further on the other side of into the playground.
Well,
Okay.
depending on how far, I don't know what's right up near the basketball court. That depending on how much of a lip it was.
Some trees and, yeah.
There's still a distance away.
It's a distance.
Okay.
No, I agree with you. And you see that puddle there?
I just hate
I've actually
to
swept it up before.
I hate to
So
see
it's
the
like-
kids not being able to use it,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
But, and it was such a rainy summer that
Yeah.
it always
Oh, I
looked bad
know,
this summer.
and the puddle is huge right
Yeah.
now after the rain we had the other
The
day.
young kids really like the puddle.
They do like the
Yes, they
puddle.
do
They
like the
like
puddle.
the puddle. They're not playing basketball,
It's a
they're
splash
jumping in
pad.
the puddle.
Yeah, riding their bikes through.
Riding their bikes
Yeah.
through.
Yeah, I'm sure we could make a puddle for them somewhere if they wanted.
All right, is that it, Kim?
Yes.
Okay. Report from the clerk treasurer.
Everyone has their expense and revenue report for October. We also had a water billing. Water was $75,287.75, and sewer was $70,034.61.
Is that up a little?
Yeah, but it's hard to.
It's hard to
Yeah,
say.
because we switched our,
Yeah, we
went
switched.
2 and then we went back to 3, so.
Right. Okay.
Plus the cost
Yes, plus our
Plus the
cost.
fees went up.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
fee,
Yeah.
the water fees.
Right.
That's
increased
true.
too. We haven't had too many people ask about that, I mean,
That's,
few.
yeah, I've had a couple of people ask me, but they all understand. Okay, and you've got.
We have additional invoices for the warrant of 2,000, oh no, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
$2,746 for a total warrant of $20,960.84.
may I have a motion to approve the warrant?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions, discussion? So we paid the EV Connect cloud charge, and we still have one that's not working? How do we rectify this?
We have not paid them since 2021.
Well, I
Hasn't
know,
worked
But-
since then either.
I know,
Huh?
but,
We've only had one that's been working ever since we've been paying them.
I know, but how do we, I'm frustrated.
I sent
It's-
an email, did they respond
No.
to you? Because I asked them,
No.
told them to send the correspondence.
Oh, you sent them an email?
Yeah, I sent them an email before we paid, he wanted me to sign a thing for the payment, and I sent an email and I said, send the correspondence to Juanita. And we had one, we had to put a new system in there, because the first two wouldn't go to the satellite, so we had to change, I put 2 brand new ones, and one of them hasn't worked since we put it in, and that was
Okay.
2-3 years ago.
Well,
We
it's
can
just,
hold,
oh no, I'm not even saying that, I just would
I
like
mean,
to
the
see
one
them
station
both
that's working, we
working.
paid for, but, I mean, the station originally got paid for, should be working.
Yeah,
If it doesn't work, send us another one.
and we're just getting more and more use, and that's only going to continue.
Well,
Well, I know there's one situation, but still more people are going to be stopping by to use it.
people do, but it doesn't work.
Yeah,
They leave their car plugged in where somebody's got their car on the other side that's plugged in.
I know, I noticed that too. But you gotta see it's not working. Okay, well, anyway, just want the board to know that we have one that's not working.
Yeah, it hasn't worked, I don't think, ever. Since we installed it, I called, I don't know how many times we've got a hold of them, and they have, shut the breaker off for so long, put it back on, you can reboot it like a computer. It doesn't work, we did it 100 times. Gotta take the panel off every time. And I did send an email, I don't know, I think it was last week maybe.
yeah, I still haven't gotten anything back.
Okay, all right, well, thanks for contacting them.
I mean, I don't know what else we can,
I don't know.
we can stop paying them, but they're just gonna shut it off.
Yeah, we don't want the whole thing shut down. Any other questions from the board? Roll call.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Malinsky. Trustee Connor.
Aye.
Trustee Herzog.
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
Aye.
We also have to approve 2 invoices, one for the main water line replacement project, Barton and LaJudas for $23,471.25. We're gonna do them separate.
Yeah, so may I have a motion for the one for the water line replacement?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Trombley.
Aye.
Trustee Malinsky.
Aye.
Trustee Connor.
Aye.
Trustee Herzog.
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
Aye.
We have 2 invoices for the wastewater treatment plant project, one for Triangle Electrical for $67,606.75, and one for Barton and La Judas for $15,735.79.
May I have a motion to approve this payment?
So,
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Trombley.
aye.
Trustee Malinsky.
Aye.
Trustee Connor.
Aye.
Trustee Herzog.
Aye.
Mayor McFetrich.
Aye. Report from the superintendent. What you been up to, Mike?
Another busy month, rain. On the water side, hydrant flushing is completed. We started repairing issues with the hydrants that we found that had issues, not all done on the app, we still got quite a few to do, but as we get time, we're gonna try to keep on that. I did do the maintenance on all 7 valve vaults, PRV, clean valve PRV vaults. I had 4, actually 5 now, PRVs and homes that failed that I had to change this month. 2 water main breaks, both up on Route 9 Willow intersection. We did water readings. I had 10 bad radios that I had to swap. A few had chewed wires, and I still got 3 pages of high reads to do, which I haven't completed yet. On the sewer side, the sludge drying beds were all torn out. They're about 98% complete. They've been paved. I know the engineers are gonna be coming out. I'm a little concerned because they put asphalt in the beds with clean stone or 1s and 2s underneath. There's only like 5 inches of asphalt, and my concern is we're not gonna be able to use the loader in there anymore to load our sludge, because we're gonna destroying the asphalt. So I don't know what we're gonna do. We may end up having to buy a piece of equipment, to skid steer or something to move sludge around in there. We'll have to see as it gets closer. The old press was taken apart and removed. During the process now of prepping to get the new press in, so that's in, I think it's probably a month-long process here. Still working on lift stations, Main Street lift station, that I'm still waiting for a quote for labor. We need to change that triplex lift station, and I've got floats temporary wired, it's not good. They're working, but not the way they should be. So I'm still waiting for quotes on that, but I did get 1 quote. Well, I got 2 quotes, but one of them I'm waiting for labor on. It's not gonna be a cheap thing. Starting to have trouble with the pocket lift station too, so that's gonna be the next one we're gonna have to redo also. I need to, for equipment, I gotta get a master disconnect switch installed on the old 2000 dump truck as per the insurance company, so we can renew our insurance policy, I think by October here, so I gotta get going on that. Our 2010 Peterbilt, we're having issues with that. That's gonna have to go to the shop. Electrical issues. A lot of times you can't put it in gear. You gotta shut all the power off, start it back up, and then you can put it in gear. It's been doing that here for a little bit. We've been using it for like water breaks, but every time you go to move it, you gotta power it down, repower it. I know we were at one of our breaks and some baby mice fell out of the bottom of it somewhere, so I'm sure we've got some chewed wire somewhere. It might be our issue. The backhoe, I do have the parts. I had that, put the temporary hose on, I do have the parts. As soon as we get time, we're gonna see if we can get those hoses changed and get the new tires on. We had purchased tires. The ones we got on there are getting pretty bald now, they're starting to lose air pretty good, so we're gonna try to get all that done at the same time once we can get a little bit of downtime with it. On the streets, we had actually quite a few trees come down during some of those heavy rainstorms. I think with so much foliage and being wet, the trees, they weren't uprooting, they just couldn't take it. We had some pine limbs, and the pine cones on them look like bunches of bananas that were so big, it's just, I think this year everything grew so much. They were cleaning up trees again today, we had them clean up some by the library, they've been laying down there for some time. Other than that, the streets, we've got some, we had some washouts and stuff from all the heavy rains we're working on. I've got a spot on Elm Street where there wasn't a drain underneath the asphalt. We had the heavy rains there last week and it blew the asphalt out of the road. I gotta do something with that. We got a drain box. It's gonna be a pretty good sized project to dig that all out, the intersection. I may have to barricade it off. We got to change the drain box and a bunch of culvert there. And then asphalt it before the plant's closing, before winter, otherwise we're gonna have issues plowing there. Other than that, I mean, mowing and trimming, it's been a little difficult because of all the rain. 3 of us attended a hydrant and valve class put on by AFC. We went to Plattsburgh and that was for some credit hours, so that was a good thing. We're just waiting for our papers to come for the credit hours. That's the same brand hydrants we use, American Flow Control Watchless hydrant, so we all got a little refresher before we did our hydrant flushing. Salt and sand's been mixed. Our shed's just about full. I gotta order another load of salt here once it gets closer to winter months, so we have some for our sidewalks. I've still got quite a bit of work to complete as soon as possible. That Elm Street drain, I've got a bunch of patchwork where we've had breaks. I gotta continue with our hydrant repairs. Gotta get that sign installed at the playground. Don't have too much time to get that done here, that new dedication sign. I still got a solar panel I gotta get up on Church Street for our radar sign. And I gotta take down our one on Prospect and do some adjustment. The angle's not quite right. It's mounted to a pole and I believe the frost moved the pole and it's not picking up. It's not picking up the way it should be, so that's gonna be changed. And I still have a bunch of culvert installation on Oak Street. I've got a few sections on Prospect that I have to do, but I have quite a bit on Oak that I have to try to get done here shortly. Working on some sign replacement, some signs we got in that we have to replace. Lift station, I also have a bus shelter we gotta put up at Price Chopper Plaza. It's here, we haven't had a chance to get that done. Once the corn's cut up on top of Racine Way, I gotta get some ditching done along that bike path. I really can't do it until the corn's cut. I don't wanna knock any corn over. And it's been so wet, we did put, I think we put 6 loads or so of ones and dust in there to fix the washouts, but if I don't get a ditch in, it's gonna continue to wash out. That's about all I have for this month. I don't know if there's any questions.
Does anyone have any
It's
questions?
been for sure busy, and of course
You've been shorthanded.
we're short-handed, and we're gonna be shorter-handed here in a couple months too, because we're gonna have
Yeah,
another employee that's gonna be hiring, so.
yeah. Yeah. Well,
You guys do an amazing job with the few people that you have.
It's tough, that's for sure, it's
it
tough.
is tough.
But I had a question. So when you're talking about Elm Street, Culvert, and DI, are you talking about that plate that's at the bottom of Prospect Street?
No, the one on Elm Street, like that though.
Okay, because the one at
It
Prospect,
hits, bangs,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It's getting worse.
yeah.
Well, they're all
Well,
bolted.
now that the buses are going.
I had to
over it.
bolt them all, but I got one that's a little high. I gotta try to get it shimmed again,
Mhm.
cause they had fell in, I'd fixed them. I came to weld tabs and we bolted them all.
Mhm.
But we got one that's higher than the other, so when you go over, it goes bang,
Mhm.
it makes a noise.
Well,
It V's and
Yes,
it
because I've
V's.
seen cars go over it and it moves, and I'm like, I
It
don't
won't
think
drop in, cause they're bolted together, they got tubing. But
Okay.
it's, that style drain is the same thing that's on the end of,
Okay.
the end of Willow Street, on this end of Willow Street. And they paved over it, there's a cement box drain all the way through, and however long ago they did Elm Street, they covered some drains that were there, they just put tin sign plates and they paved over, they just left one on this end.
Okay.
And we had such heavy rains, the culverts couldn't take it, and there's another culvert that comes down from Kimpex that ties in, and it was so much pressure, it blew the plates in the asphalt out. And the trouble is the asphalt's so thin, it goes to like nothing, it's like a half inch on the concrete and it won't adhere. So I think that whole cement box is all gonna have to be ripped out. So I gotta get a dig ticket in because there's a 8-inch steel gas main is right on the side of it. That's gonna be a project. If it gets too bad, I may have to put like cement barriers in that corner.
Yeah.
I'm worried with the trucks, because what's gonna happen, if they can't turn, they're gonna be on Clark's lawn across the road.
Yeah.
So the only other option I would have would be to block it and make them turn around in their parking lot and go back out the other end.
Yeah.
But we'll see, it's just depending on the weather, I don't know when the asphalt plants are gonna close, and you gotta get that in and give it some time to compact, because you're gonna always have a dip. My plan was next year paving Elm Street, and that was gonna be part of it, but this was unforeseen how the asphalt let go, so I have to do something before winter to get it, to get us through winter for sure, because we'll hook that with plow. And the truck traffic there's so much truck traffic that it breaks everything up. It's a tough, eventually I wanna see if the board will let me post signs on the Elm Street Bridge and this end. I'd like all the traffic to come in from Kimpex, from Route 11 and keep them off this bridge, cause the bridge is so bad on this curve. We've got so many potholes by the end of, and we patch them, but they keep breaking out. So I'm hoping next year I can get the county to grind the bridge, and I wanna pave that whole road all the way through.
The problem is we need law enforcement to be sitting there and ticket these people for going across the bridge. It's not weighted for them.
Just some of them did it for so
They're
long.
just- Yeah.
Really, that's kind of different because there's businesses, but there's no reason they can't come in from the other end.
They should be coming in off Route 11.
Because I think all of our roads, when we looked them up, they're all 10-ton roads. And
Yeah.
the trucks
Yeah,
empty
and
are over
I
that.
sent a letter to the sheriff's department
Yeah.
about that.
But I'm gonna have to post signs first.
Go anywhere.
I don't know if we have to pass a resolution to do that or not. But we'll have to see as
Isn't
it
there a
gets
weight
closer.
limit in the village?
Yeah, but
Yeah, but
they don't pay attention to it.
And they can use that road as far as the weight limit goes. I don't think that bridge is posted for, but if we could, it's really hard on that, on this end. I wanna see if there's a way we can try to get them all come in from Route 11.
I agree.
There's a lot of them cut through the village just to cut across.
I know.
It's just they've been doing it for so long,
Yeah.
it's hard to stop. And GPSs, some people that don't know take them.
They don't know.
Oh, that's how they all end up through the notch.
We see them in Church Street constant.
They do it on
You
Pine
know.
Street.
Yeah,
Well,
so I
yeah.
wanna,
Yeah.
that's something I wanna look at later, buying
I've seen
signage
them do that.
and seeing if we can get signage on this end by the bridge. Even if I gotta put flags on it or something to draw their attention, you know,
Yeah.
no trucks, use Route 11 entrance or something.
Mhm.
We'll have to see what we can do with them. It's just a
Yeah,
thought to try
I agree.
to save
And
that
if we
road.
could get
Shouldn't
a
be
weight,
down there.
if we could get a weight limit sign on there, it might help.
The bridge itself there might be one, is the counties. The bridge
Yeah, it's
itself
a
is the
county
counties. Goes from a state road to a county bridge to us.
Right.
Supposedly a little piece in between the tail we own, I don't know. I mean, there are a few exemptions, like we have tractor trailers that go up Oak Street, because they go to the Mission
Yeah,
for pickup.
right.
Cause I chased one day,
And-
what'd they do when they
and
were going to
NADA.
the Mission, so when they backed in, I didn't stop them. I mean, and NADA, you know, they still go sometimes over to the NADA building. So, I mean, that was
Yeah.
a commercial place, you really can't, it's the only way in. Those guys, you have no choice, it's the ones that don't have a reason, those are the ones.
They just need
They
to
just
drive
wanna
a
cut
little
through.
slower when
I mean,
they
if they have a
go through
manifest
there.
sheet, and deliveries too, you can't stop sometimes. I've seen the tractor trailer on Willow Street delivering a kayak. Why would they send it a tractor trailer, I don't know, but honest to God,
Wow, and that's tight for a school bus.
We don't need to be on Church Street,
so,
and it is posted, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's a 5
Oh, wait,
ton.
is that the one where it has two different,
No, we fixed it.
oh, good,
It said 10
Thank you.
ton on one and 5 on the other,
I know.
and it should say 5 on both ends, you know.
alright.
But anyway, that's all I have, and we're not the only ones in that situation, Ross is going to them, do the same thing.
Yeah.
I let them borrow, they just ordered some, I let them borrow signs, because a lot of them were cutting down, to go to the old white building, Academy Street or whatever, they were cutting down those side roads, so they had to put signs, no trucks, they put flags on them to try to get their attention, go around when it's supposed to be a truck route, you know. It's hard on those small roads,
Yeah,
so,
And that road is so bad, I don't know why a tractor trailer would wanna be on that road. I mean, it's a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit because of the school and like maybe 15 miles an hour in a school bus you're pushing it because the road is so bad. So I can't imagine in a tractor trailer.
Yeah, they cut off Lake Street and try to go through
Yeah,
instead of going around.
yeah. Well, thanks, Mike. Tell the
You're welcome.
you
Yes,
guys
thank you.
thank you. I know they're working hard. Correspondence?
Correspondence regarding the oil spill, the resignation letter from Kevin Sterling, correspondence from James Andrus regarding job opportunities, correspondence from NYMER requiring battery disconnect switches on vehicles.
Okay, so I'm going to take a little break in the regular meeting and go into executive session. So could I have a motion to go out of the regular meeting?
So moved.
May I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. A motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
And a second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, if you can just go in the, okay, may I have a motion to go out of executive session?
So moved.
May I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. May I have a motion to go into regular session?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Chuck seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, that motion carries. All right. Let's see here. Under new business, we have to change the date for the October meeting. I believe we discussed, October,
No, nothing in executive session.
nothing in no decisions made.
Okay.
Change of date for the meeting, October 10th was what we proposed. Does that work for everyone?
Yes.
We have a motion to change our next meeting to October 10th.
So moved.
Second.
All in
You
favor?
had three
I
first,
know.
I'll take the second.
Okay, so Tuesday,
All
that's
all in
good.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, that motion carries. The FEMA local law, this is a requirement that there are changes to the village's flood damage prevention ordinance. So to maintain eligibility in the National Flood Insurance Program, we have to adopt these. So I put everything together, I sent it off to DEC, they said, oh, that looks good. And so now we need to set up a public hearing at our October meeting. So I just need a motion to have a public hearing on this.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Surplus property, I just put that on there because I wanted to ask Mike, do we have anything that we'd like to get rid of that has any value, that, I know there are ways to sell things, do we have any old? I know we have a lot of old stuff. Do we have anything
Most
that we,
everything here is,
do we have anything that might be worth, selling for a little
the
money?
only thing we have, which I don't know what you get for, is that 2000 dump truck.
Do we use it very much?
Haven't used it, we used to use it for a whole lot of brush, but, we haven't used it since we got the new Peterbilt. I mean, it's not worth.
I mean, we carry insurance on it, for that reason, would it be worth getting rid of?
I mean, that's fine,
Would-
we can,
Well, if we're not using it,
no, we're not using it. That
Kinda
was our-
seems
that
silly
was
to
our-
carry insurance on something
Yeah.
we're not using.
I mean,
That's
even
been our
if-
backup, we haven't been inspected since like 19.
oh, well, let's try to sell it then, even if we just get
Yeah,
a
you
little
won't, you
bit
won't get
and
much.
save
for
our
it.
insurance on
Put
it.
it out.
But, yeah.
Anything's better than nothing, and if we don't use it, we're
Yeah.
not paying insurance.
Yeah, we haven't, I mean, we used to use that for brakes and for brush and for,
Yeah,
but once we got the new truck, we've been using the other two.
okay. I don't really know how you do that, but, then,
Put it out for sealed bid,
yeah,
that's how we
Okay.
used to do it. I don't think there's anything else that we have, I mean, eventually the old '08 pickup's gonna go too, that'll probably go, I don't know if you can sell it, if it's gonna go to scrap, but pretty rough shape,
okay.
pretty bad.
Well, let's do
I
the,
just put a battery in it because we had to have it, the battery wet, we use it for a fuel truck for equipment.
oh,
It's
okay,
really the only thing we use it for is, you know, we go up here and fill it and we use that to fuel all of our equipment.
okay,
But eventually that'll be, for the amount of money you'd have to put into it,
it wouldn't be worth,
Okay,
it wouldn't be worth it.
well, let's start with the dump truck. Okay,
Yeah,
all right. Oh, and there's nothing else, probably.
not that I can think of.
Okay. Under old business, the dog law, it still has to be tabled. I still have not heard back from the lawyer on the verbiage for that, so hopefully the October meeting will get that all set. And for the birthday celebration, I think we're pretty good. Is there any questions or concerns about that right now? All right, it's coming together. Hopefully we get a lot of people in good weather.
Yeah.
Regardless, we're going to have fun. Anything else? Missing anything? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
That motion carried.
I was just going back to check all without the base to be sure that the time was correct and
Yeah, I was gonna,